All right, let's go. So you obviously played in the NFL. Did they have the top 100 rankings when you played? Last year was what, 04, I think?
Yeah. Not unless it was in some like obscure magazine and no one knew about it. It wasn't like a topic like on the national platforms that was debated.
That, right.
I don't even know how you would gauge the accuracy of it because you first of all have to put a value on positions.
Right.
Because your 15th ranked quarterback is still better or probably more important to his team than your third guard on the list. You know what I mean?
Right. Nah, well, I'll be honest, and the reason I asked if you did it when you were a player because, and Rob, we talked about it yesterday with Rob G. I guess the format is that guys pick 20 players, the best 20 players in the league.
And that's how they formulate the list?
There, yeah, but I got to be honest, I don't think that would lead up to 100 players. I don't think there's going to be that many. There will be some differences, but you got Jared Goff on the list at 49. Is he even named? Is he definitely getting named on somebody's list?
Yeah, I think based off the season he had last year and then what he did.
But I'm just using him as an example.
Yeah,
Whoever the guys is ranked 61st.
The quarterbacks would be on the list. I don't think there's any quarterback that can make the top 100 that I don't think somebody actually voted for. The hard part
But don't you think they can't just be voting for 20 players? But I can't see players sitting there voting for 100.
Right. They don't have that kind of attention span.
No.
But again, you got to think about this, Chris. So let's say you're from the Midwest. Let's say you went to Boise State, but you're drafted into the AFC North. So you're very familiar with Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati. Your only crossover NFC conference, though, was the East. So you didn't play the NFC South, North, or West. That you could not be familiar with players from those teams that didn't play in the Mountain West Conference that you competed against at Boise. You know what I mean?
No, I totally. Because would you, and I know there are exceptions, but is it fair to say that I'd even say professional athletes, not just NBA or NFL players, they don't watch the other teams, certainly as much as the media? You watch them when you you're studying film and stuff, but I'm just for watching games.
Well, yeah, you can't
random.
because the majority of NFL games are played on Sunday.
Right.
It's all played. You playing at 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock Eastern. Right. That's why when you get a chance as an NFL player, and that's why guys take it so serious, specifically Monday and Sunday night. Guys trying to put their best foot forward because they know that's the one time everybody's probably watching.
Right. No, that makes all the sense in the world. Well, I got to be honest, Sean. This year's list, in my opinion,
leaves a lot to be desired.
Oh, my gosh. And I'm just really going quarterbacks.
Okay.
I think the rest of the stuff is pretty fine. But so they haven't named the top 10 now. That's coming tomorrow. But the only two quarterbacks left are Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. We know they're both going to be in the top 10. I'd be surprised if Lamar's ahead of Patrick. I don't think I know he won the MVP, but I got to believe Patrick Mahomes is not only the number one quarterback, but the number one player. But if we look, I'm going to give you the top 10 quarterbacks listed, according to this list. Mahomes, I'll say, is 1. Lamar, 2. Josh Allen is the third quarterback, but he was 12th overall. I think he should be in the top 10. I think he's a great football player. Jalen Hurts was 15, but he's the fourth quarterback. Dak Prescott was 16, fifth quarterback. C.J. Stroud was 20th, sixth quarterback. Brock Purdy, 28th, seventh quarterback. Jordan Love was, I believe, 34. He's eighth. Tua was 36, so he's ninth. And Joe Burrow was 39th, so he would be 10th. Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff came after them. I'm sorry. Look, and I like Brock Purdy. You can't put him ahead of Joe Burrow.
I mean, I agree.
And certainly not Jalen Hurts. I like Hurts, but
Hurts is too high.
So it's crazy to me. This list.
Happy for Hurts, but he's too high.
Right.
I'll say this. Here's my top 5, just for context. I have
Your
Mahomes.
top 5 quarterbacks. Okay.
I have Mahomes 1, Josh Allen 2, Matthew Stafford 3, Lamar Jackson 4, C.J. Stroud 5. Those are my top 5 right now as we're
So
going
you
to.
don't now is Burrow? Are you punishing Burrow, which is legit?
I'm not punishing
injury?
him. He wasn't playing well before he got ruled out for the rest of the season, and
He
torn
had
ACL.
come on the last couple games, but overall,
Yeah.
you're right.
So he's coming back from injury. Already, the guy is kind of immobile in a lot of ways. Still, I think that's a shaky offensive line in Cincinnati. They let Joe Mixon go because they know they got to pay Chase and potentially Higgins. So I'm not as high on Burrow as I was 2 years ago, but I haven't given up on him. I mean, I still know he's a talented guy, but that's just my list right now going into this. Stafford's the one to me that's highly underrated.
Well, and I
Stafford's
get it, it's
a flat
team
foot baller.
game, but why couldn't he lift Detroit any higher? I mean, you did have Calvin Johnson, you did have Ndamukong Suh. You know, you did. I get it that you need a team, but there were years they had some really good players, and he could never obviously get them.
And I think the players that he had,
good.
I mean, you're talking Calvin Johnson and some of those guys, they had Hall of Fame caliber careers playing with Stafford. The Lions just weren't good enough as a team to make any headway or leeway in the playoffs. Like, that's the thing about the NFL. It's got the most parity of any professional league in America. Like, you literally not only have to have the best team, but you have to be fortunate and lucky in some ways to win championships. Like what the Patriots and Belichick were able to do, I don't think we'll ever see anything close to that again.
Really?
I
think we're seeing it. We actually might see better.
They got a long way to go now to get
They
to.
They got 3 rings in what? Well, 6 years with Mahomes.
Yeah, they got a long way to go, though.
3 rings in 6 years, or really 5 years.
Not saying they can't do it. They got a long way to go still to get to Brady.
I mean, but let's say they don't get 6, and they might. But if they got 5 in 10 years, which is very likely or possible, you don't think that's essentially seeing what we saw from New England? Because there was a 10-year gap.
Yeah, if they get to 5. If they get to 5, I'll tip my hat to them and say, yeah, absolutely.
You think they're going to three-peat?
No, I don't think they get to 5 either.
Wow. Why not? I'm seriously
I think
curious.
the quarterback
but I just
play,
think Mahomes is so good, man.
The quarterback play in that conference is so good. I don't think their success is sustained. They've gotten by a couple times now by the hair of the chin.
This past year was the year. I'm not saying
Burrow
I think Lamar will get one, but Lamar, they blew it.
Yeah,
they had a really good
Absolutely.
chance. Yeah,
but these young guys are coming. C.J. Stroud is good. The Texans are
Stroud
good.
is tough.
Texans about to be a problem. If Goldilocks down there in Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence ever figures it out, they got good pieces around him. Like, it's some young guys. They're coming.
I think the Chargers going to
be the Steelers. Herbert, and Harbaugh. I don't think they have the skill position talent to make any noise this year.
Guys.
But don't count out Mike Tomlin. All he's needed is average quarterback play.
I'm glad you brought up Pittsburgh. We're going to get into that next about their quarterback battle, if that's what you want to call it. But so let me ask you this: where you put Purdy? Like I said, he's the seventh quarterback on this list. I kind of think in that 7 to even 13 or 14 range. It's going to fluctuate. To be honest, even I think 5 on down to 14 or so is going to fluctuate year to year.
Coming back from one of the breaks, we were listening to an interview that Colin Cowherd did, and he was talking about Purdy and him playing in the system and him kind of limiting his ceiling because he doesn't make a lot of outside the system plays. So basically giving the credit to Kyle Shanahan, which is fair. Shanahan's one of the best offensive minds in football. A great quarterback can do both. And it's kind of why more people are higher on Lamar than I am at times, because great quarterbacks are calm when it's chaotic, Chris. They can stay in the pocket when stuff breaks down and operate within the confines of the system and then extend plays when they have to. I don't know that Lamar is great yet at operating within the confines of the system. I think he still struggles with ball location. Purdy is outstanding in the system.
And made some plays outside of it.
And he makes more plays than people think outside of it. He's just still operating under he was a 7th-round draft pick moniker. If they would have drafted Purdy in the 1st round and his
Everybody
career
would love him right
was
now.
exactly the same as it is, people would have a different narrative on,
totally
on Brock
agree.
Purdy.
Everybody would be thinking he's the next
coming.
future
Yeah.
Hall of Famer. Yeah, absolutely.